It starts with Guiju hugging Dae-hee. She asks him to promise her not to go to the past to save her because he may die. Meanwhile, he doubts that if he didn't save her, the time they have spent together might disappear. He comforts her that he intends to spend a long and happy life together. They share the same bed, hugging each other. Next day, he meets up with Ms. Beek and Dae-hee's uncle. She has learned that Dae-hee is still alive. He explains to Ms. Beek that Dae-hee was not running away from her, but from him because it's destined to die saving her. Dae-hee wakes up and looks for Guiju. She gets worried that he might go to the past. After a while he comes with a breakfast. He didn't tell her about his meeting with Ms. Beek. While they eat, she reminisces her savior in the fire 13 years ago. He had a scar on his neck, contrary to Guiju who doesn't have a scar, but she didn't tell him. At Bok residence, Ina is crying and sobbing because she read her grandmother's mind that her father will die. Meanwhile Guiju and Dae-hee arrive in and the family welcomes them back home. He questions about Ina. His mother tells him that Ina discovers everything. He sits with his daughter, but she breaks down and runs away. Dae-hee apologizes to Ms. Bok that her plan doesn't work and promises her that she will find another way. She tells Ms. Bok that her savior had a red spot on his neck, but Guiju doesn't have. Dong-hee sits with her brother Guiju. She asks him if he really wants to be with Dae-hee, or he just wants that because of his mother's dreams. He tells him not to follow his mother's dreams because her dreams ruined her life. Dong-hee reminisces when she was a model. Her mother tells her not to go to the show because there is another model will ruin the show. Dong-hee listens to her. The model wears Dong-hee's heels. The model falls because of Dong-hee's heels. Dong-hee gets back to the present. She thinks that her mother ruins her life and she was the reason behind her obesity. She thinks that her mother doesn't care about her. Meanwhile, Ms. Bok tells Dae-hee that she wants to tell Dong-hee that her fiancé cheating on her with another woman and she is worried about her a lot, but she cannot tell her because Ms. Bok thinks that she already ruined her dream before to be a model. Ms. Bok sadly says that she has cursed her children to hell and she is the real curse in the family. Dae-hee goes to Ina's room. She cries that she is the curse to her dad. Her mother died on the day she was born and her dad will die on the same day. She tells Ina that everyone in the family was born with a superpower, but they take it for granted. Dae-hee tells her that she is the one who will lift the curse because she can change the future and she will save her dad. Elsewhere, while Dong-hee and her fiancé see their future apartment and asks her to pay the deposit for it, she offers to move to her family house, but he refuses. After his meeting with Dong-hee, he meets another woman. It's turned that Dae-hee secretly follows him, taking pictures for him and his mistress. He gets afraid when she sends him those pictures. Dae-hee rides in his car, telling him about Bok family's secret that they have superpowers. She advises him to run away because they will watch every single move he makes. She threatens him to give her 200 million won before the wedding or she will send the pictures to Dong-hee. He tries to hit her, but her uncle intervenes on time and stops him. Her uncle tells Dae-hee to return back to the sauna and leave Bok family, but she says it was supposed to die 13 years ago. At the sauna, he talks to Ms. Beek about what happened. Ms. Beek says that she is so heart-wrenched. It seems that Ms. Beek loves Dae-hee and considers her as her real daughter. Guiju enters Dong-hee's room and finds her hiding and eats. She says she is heavy and cannot fly again. He reminds her how she was pretty in the elementary school. He travels in time when he was at the hospital because he gets hurt. While he trying to save a dog, he sees how his sister is happy and funning. He tells her that her weight is not the problem and she flew before, while she is overweight because she was happy. Elsewhere, Dong-hee's fiancé gives Dae-hee 200 million won and asks her to stay away of him. He takes his mistress to his marital apartment. Meanwhile, Grace asks Dong-hee to give her a tour in her marital apartment. Dong-hee gets shocked, seeing her fiancé with another woman before their marriage with one day. Dae-hee pops up with the bag of money which her fiancé gave her to keep away. Grace takes the bag and he runs after her to take the money. Accidentally he pushes her out of the window. Dong-hee keeps reminiscing her mother while she blames her for eating and scolds her that she will not be able to fly and don't let anyone see her while flying. Eventually, she flies, saving Grace. The three women start crying with tears of joy. It's turned that Ms. Beek who sends Grace to make that role, and Dae-hee's uncle who lent Dong-hee's fiancé the loan with low interest, that money who gave to Dae-hee. The family becomes pleased that Dong-hee returns flying. Meanwhile, Guiju takes Ina to the amusement park. They both enjoy their time together. He tells her how much he loves her and he will save Dae-hee to be a happy family. Guiju prepares food like what his dad did when they were young. Happy Bok family have the meal together as a real family. At the school, Ina starts training in the dancing club. Junwoo notices her. He He offers to help her. Meanwhile, Guiju and Dae are in the restaurant. She sees the future Guiju, and he looks happy. At Bok House, Soon-gu plays music, which they were playing it several years ago, and dances with Ms. Bok. Nearby, Guiju sees them. He travels in time to the moment when they were happy family. The same music was playing, and his parents were dancing. He notices a young girl is running to ride a bike with her friends, who bully her because she doesn't know how to ride it. It's turned that she is Dae. He holds and pushes the bike, makes her happy because she can do it. He notices that everything turns from black and white into colorful. When he gets back to the present, he observes that he gets a scar on his neck because a tree branch hurt him. He feels sad because that means that the goodbye is near. He hides his neck and joins the family for dinner. Guiju goes to the pharmacy, asking about the scar. The pharmacist tells him that the scar will go away within a week. Outside, he finds Dae waits him, holding an umbrella, because his mother dreamed about him getting rained on by the pharmacy. At the school, the situation has turned into the opposite. Hiram becomes outcast and other students gossip about her. Ina sits with her. She tells Hiram that she will follow her heart and her heart wants her to come back to the dance team. Hiram leaves her. Elsewhere, Dong-hee does Pilates workouts. Grace comes with Young-tae. Dong-hee misunderstands and thinks that Grace wants her to date him, but she feels embarrassed because Grace brings him as a trainer in the gym. She remembers him when he was a clever delivery man who never let food cold or spilled a single drop of soup and kept it perfectly packaged. Grace admits that he was only a spy on her as a part of scam, but it seems that Dong-hee falls in love at first sight. Nearby, her ex-fiancé overhears their conversation. At night, while she works out, her ex-fiancé appears and blackmails her with a clip where she was flying, saving Grace. He asks her to marry him or give him 200 million won, but Dong-hee doesn't care and leaves. After she leaves, Young-tae pops up, beats him, and throws his phone in the water. At Bok House, Ms. Bok narrates her dream about the fire 13 years ago to Guiju. She tells the same events, which Guiju saw, except one thing, that she saw some were flailing in the air. He goes to the fire station where he worked before the accident. He notices that Guiju always covers his neck. At night, she sees what he covers. She sees the same scar, which was the same scar on his savior. He stops her from telling the family, because the next day will be important for Ina. He feels sad and worried. Guiju comforts her that everything will be okay and nothing will change. Ms. Bok dreams that Dong-hee were flying at Ina's dance competition in front of everyone. At Ina's dance competition, Bok family and Beek family attend. Meanwhile, Guiju comes to the fire station. He gets the report about the fire 13 years ago. It's turned that he has been sending money to his late friend Ha Yeongjin's family and even funding his son's tuition. Meanwhile, Ina and her team are on the stage. She gets stressed. Junwoo takes off her glasses and tells her to keep her eyes on him. Both families cheer her on a lot. Ina and her team are doing well. The next show was acrobatics where some were flying in the air. BS Bok gets shocked because she thought her dream was about the fire 13 years ago, but her dream was about this moment. She gets terrified. Dong-hee receives a message from her ex-fiancé. When she meets him, she finds him make her a marriage proposal. When she refuses his proposal, he threatens her to set everything on fire. She tells him that he cannot do that because he is a clumsy coward jerk and leaves. While he cleans the mess, the fire is getting bigger. People run away. He looks for Ina, and Guiju looks for her. Meanwhile, Dong-hee takes the decision to rescue her ex-fiancé. Daehee's trauma with fire knocks in, but she is determined to save Ina. She can find her. A wood wall was about to fall, but Guiju arrives on time and holds it up. He tells her to leave with Ina. They leave and he travels in time to the moment that Ina was born, and the fire was happen. Everything becomes colorful, and people can see him. He goes to Daehee's school. Although Ha Yeongjin sees him, he enters the school, and the collapse starts. Guiju takes another route from behind to enter the school. He runs among the fire flames, and succeeds in saving Daehee. He tells her to jump out of the building, asking her to trust him, and gives her the Bok family ring, telling her that is not the end. He throws her from the window. Meanwhile, he stays in the building. Jump to the present 5 years later. Dong-hee's ex-fiancé becomes a prisoner. Grace still works in the gym. Dong-hee enjoys her life with Young-tae, and Ms. Bok spends her time in the sauna because she can sleep well there. Ina becomes a university student. Guiju is dead, and Daehee gets a child called Nuri. It's turned that her son's superpower that he can bring things from the past. She asks him to bring his father from 18 years ago. Surprise, the child can bring her father from the past back to the present.